G'day champion, welcome to ground zero of my lockdown, and today's video is my take on the whole Coronavirus COVID-19 media hysteria, beat up, stress and all the despair, stress, drama, panic buying and low-grade human behaviour that has come as a result of this crisis that we're being subjected to. And if you're easily triggered, it's probably best that you turn off right now. Not because I'm making light of this crisis or alleged crisis, and not because I wish to diminish or belittle people who are suffering at this time, either from stress or from the condition itself, or from all the hype and panic and angst and stress that's going on. But more so because I've found in my life the only way to get through things is with a bit of humour, a bit of tongue-in-cheek, and not taking life too seriously. So if you want to look on and have a bit of laugh at the world and a bit of a laugh at ourselves, and at the same time see and learn some amazing strategies to get through this and come out the other end looking and feeling even better than before, watch on. But if you're easily offended, I tell you right now, switch away. So let's get into it. Where do we start? We can go through all the statistics and all the fear mongering and everything else that we've been seeing on TV, seeing on YouTube, seeing on Facebook and everywhere else that we turn our heads. Or we can go, look, it's been covered elsewhere way too extensively. Let's not dive into that. Let's look at, instead of from a reactive point of view or from a victim point of view, let's start looking at what we can do proactively. And the reason I say that, and we're not going to give too much focus to the disease except to laugh at it, and again, I'm not taking the piss out of people who are legitimately suffering or are immunocompromised or who are stressed out and upset, but I'm going to give you a physiological reason why it's better to laugh and be open. And it starts off with this study when you look at stress and its effect on the immune response in the body. So if you have an acute stressor, in other words, the historic saber-toothed tiger jumps out of the jungle at you and you freak out and your adrenaline levels spike or your epinephrine levels spike, and you do one of three things. You fight the thing, probably not the smartest thing with a saber-toothed tiger. You freeze, hoping the danger doesn't see you as a danger and ignores you, or you run like hell. So the fight, fright, flight response. It's an acute stress response. It's a healthy response in human beings. That's what it's there for. But when you are constantly bombarded with ongoing stressors to keep you in a high level of arousal and fear, what that does is it depletes your adrenal glands. And so your cortisol levels go up as your stress goes up, your adrenaline gets depleted, and your immune response plummets. So in other words, you are more susceptible to illness and disease. So the best thing we can do in a situation like this, yeah, we know the facts, let's look at the facts, let's not listen to the hype. Because it's the hype that drives people to panic buy toilet paper, and we're going to talk about that specifically in a minute, because you know what, it's not the big drama that we're all making out. So let's get proactive and see what we can do. So the number one thing that we can do once you're aware of the facts is turn off the fucking television. Just get away from it. Get away from all the negativity, because that is what is spiking your level of arousal, of fear, of stress, of despair, of frustration, and all these negative emotions, and getting you away from the core centeredness of yourself. So what can you do? The best thing you can do, number one, is reconnect with yourself. What does that mean? Number one, get outside, get into nature. If you want to stimulate your immune system and make yourself stronger, get out in the sun, get out in the fresh air. And here's the coolest thing about this virus. If we've got to look for positives from this virus, is that when we shut down cities and stop all industrial production, or at least slow it down, there is far less air pollution, which means it's fresher air, it's sweeter air. We've got trees that are going to clean up our atmosphere for us, and we get to breathe fresh air again. So get out in nature, breathe deeply, and we'll talk about why in a second. But if you don't believe me about the lowering pollution and how that's influenced positive health outcomes in people, check out Mike the Vegan's video on it, where he looks specifically at the lowered pollution in China and less people dying of the results of the pollution and the air pollution and the chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and other asthma-related illnesses and everything else, because of less pollution, these people are healthier. So as a result, you're getting far less people dying from pollution-related illnesses. And yes, there's a bump up in coronavirus deaths, but the net effect is far less people dying and people generally far healthier. So in a really weird, sick and twisted way, there's a bit of a win there for humanity. Obviously not for the individual who is suffering, and I'm not trying to belittle that, just to stop the trigger warnings. But anyway, so to get out, get fresh air in your lungs, and there's a very, very good test for if you've got lung damage. You take a deep breath in, you expand your chest, you hold that breath, because if you've got scarring on your lungs, when that fibrosis starts, the best thing that you can do is stretch that fibrosis, A, to break it down, or to make it more pliable so you don't lose lung function. So that's step number one. Step number two, if you haven't seen my video already on lowering stress levels, click up here or down below, and I'm going to put a link in there where it talks about to lower your stress levels, the best thing that you can do is 6 deep breaths. The youngest person who has died from this disease here in Australia was 77 years old. Now that's not to say that they shouldn't be gone, and my thoughts and sympathies go to their families, but in the first 6 deaths, 5 of them were people in their 80s or higher. One person died, they were 96, another person was 92. In other words, not to be facetious, but when you look at the average lifespan of humanity, if this was a tin of soup, mate, those people would be beyond their use-by date. In other words, they have already beaten the odds, and as my old man says, 30, 40, 50 years ago, people died of old age. It's like, you know what, you hit 85, 90 years old, you popped your clogs, and hey, you had a good innings. You died of old age. Now everyone has to die of something. So that skews the statistics on what coronavirus is doing, and other corona sniffles or other flu, and we've heard the stories. If you look at social media for more than 5 minutes, you see that far more people die from the general flu. Now that's not to say this thing may or may not turn into a massive epidemic of epic proportions. We don't know. But let's just keep it in a bit of perspective first. Let's lower our stress levels by getting outside, breathing deeply, and enjoying nature. Get some sun on your body. A, you're going to look and feel better, and B, it's going to stimulate your immune response so that you're better able to fight off and ward off infection. Why? Because viruses and bacteria are like bullies. They pick on the weak. So if you are strong and capable, you can give the middle finger to that virus and it doesn't get a hold in your body. It's preventive work. And when we look at this purely from a health and fitness point of view, again, by getting out and walking and exercising your body and getting out in nature, you're going to circulate that air through you. You're not going to get a build-up of that crap in your lungs that is the environment that is susceptible to this disease. In other words, your mucous membranes are going to be healthy. You're going to be clearing the rubbish out of your body. And on an aside there, if you smoke, you know what? Just stop. We know what smoking does to the body. So at the very least, stop for 2 weeks while you're in lockdown. This is a perfect time to chuck your cigarettes off the balcony. You can't go outside and get them because you're in self-isolation. And go through the detox. And start doing things that nourish your mind, which is why I picked up the guitar again. I don't pretend to be a good performer. I play for me, but you know what? It distracts me from other stuff that might be stressing me out. Read a book. Up your skill set. Because once this lockdown ends, there are going to be some very, very sexually frustrated people out there that need satisfying. Spend the time starting a new business. In fact, I'm going to do another video specifically on how you can build your wealth during these times of uncertainty and stress. And we'll do that, and there's going to be some great takeaways there to help yourself out. So in the next few days, look for that video. And the other thing too, look, you've seen it worldwide. We've had women punching each other out in shopping centres over toilet paper, loo roll, dunny roll, shitter roll, whatever you want to call it, the stuff you wipe your ass with. And the worst case scenario, let's say you have an issue that you run out of toilet paper. Well, there's a couple of things you can do. Jump in the shower, use a bidet, use your spare socks, those leftover single socks that, that one manages to go missing. Or use the cat. I saw the meme and it was brilliant that, use the cat. Why? Because the cat cleans itself so it can be used again. Or as the story goes about the bear and the rabbit in the forest, and they're both having a crap, and the bear turns to the rabbit and goes, you know what, do you ever get that problem where the shit sticks to your fur? And the rabbit's like, no, I never have that problem. The shit never sticks to my fur. And the bear goes, you beauty, grabs him by the ears and wipes his ass with it. because at the end of the day, it's like, you know what, you don't have dunny roll, it's not the end of the world. We're very resourceful creatures, human beings, and a little bit of poo and getting creative with getting it off your body, hey, we can deal with it. It's not worth slapping down your fellow man and acting like a total animal, filling up your shopping trolley and, you know, acting like an idiot. And the important part too is then it comes down to food. We've seen hoarding of key foodstuffs, and I'm not saying be irresponsible and don't get a couple of extra tins of, you know, beans or veggies or tomatoes or whatever the heck else and store them away in case there's a disruption for an ongoing period of time. But when we look at Australia, per capita, we have the highest level of obesity on the planet, apparently. Haven't seen the statistic, but heard it quoted the other day. In the USA, it's something like 35 or 40% of adults are obese. In other words, if there is a food shortage, it will behoove these people and hold them in very good stead to actually go on a fast. And you know what? The longest fast that has been recorded was 382 days. That's over a year that a gentleman from Scotland, and I'll put the link down below and we'll put a graphic up here right about now, went through this fast, 382 days. All he did was kept his electrolytes up. He lost a huge amount of weight and kept it off. And you know what? That excessive fat on his body was enough of a fuel to sustain him for over a year. So in other words, if you're short of food, your body's probably going to love you for having the opportunity to burn off that fat, detox the body, and when you lose that excess fat, now your heart is going to be a far more efficient pump to pump blood around your body. It's going to have time to repair your immune system. Again, if you do a 5-day fast or a 3-day fast, studies have shown that that spikes your immune response, improves your immunity. So, you know, you're on a winner. And the funny part is people are stocking up on breads, pastas, meat. You know, I had a woman say to me in the shop the other day, I went shopping to grab some veggies, and she's like, I can't get any meat. And she was about 70. I said, that's great. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, stop putting dead stuff in your body. Because somewhere along the way here, we've got a bit of a karmic law going on. You know, if we're so focused on death, and I'm going to get a bit dark here, and this is the trigger warning for those people who don't want to be triggered. If you're eating animal flesh, you're eating dead animals, and when those animals go down into the tunnel to get knocked on the head, let's say, slaughtered, humanely slaughtered, I don't know any humane way of slaughtering things, but anyway, when they're going down there, do you think that they do not have an awareness at some level of what's happening? Do you not think that they have a stress response in their body? They're spiking hormones related to stress, fear, angst, anger, despair, futility, and then we grab that flesh and we cook it and put it in our bodies. So you're eating, either at a physiological level or a karmic level, that stress and fear in that animal. So we're killing and killing and killing and eating that as a culture. And we're thinking we're separate from nature. All this virus is doing is what nature does. Kills the weak, kills the sick. So as you've seen in my videos, again, I'm going to put the playlist up here or down below of the recipes to get you vibrant and healthy. And you know what? They're all plant-based. In other words, meat-free, animal product-free, cruelty-free. There's a reason I say cruelty-free works for me, and it should work for you too. And it's because when you're filling yourself with fruit and vegetables and living stuff, your body feels more alive, and you don't have this weird little psychological or karmic bit of stuff sitting in the back of your brain going, holy shit, this is dead food, this is dead animals, this is carcasses. And so your body can thrive and grow. And the funniest thing, when I go to the supermarket, I might go down and say, wow, there's no pasta left, or there's no biscuits left, and there's no loo roll left, obviously, but there is tons of fruit and vegetables. And the great thing is, you can grab bananas and mangoes, and you can make the best mango and banana ice cream. And again, there's a video in that playlist about the recipes on how to make the best banana and mango ice cream, and then stick your frozen berries in the freezer and everything else. You can make the best smoothies that are going to sustain you, give you energy, make you feel amazing, and no one's fighting over it at the supermarket. It's absolutely phenomenal. So until we get to a point where the shelves are bare or the supermarkets are shut down, load up on as much fresh fruit and vegetables as you can. Stimulate your body. Eat the rainbow. Again, let the light in. Let the different colors in. There's so much wisdom in that statement and so much care and love in that statement, because the more colours that you eat, you're eating so many phytonutrients that are going to again protect your body. So that's that part. So we've talked about protecting our mind, meditation, deep breathing, lowering stress levels. We're talking about helping the body get outside, get the fresh air, get the vitamin D on you from the sun, get your body moving, circulate the body. We're talking about not overeating and avoiding the crap, and so we can shed weight and detoxify the body and also get the good stuff in so our body can rebuild itself even stronger. And this is the greatest part about this. You might be stuck at home, and I'll say stuck at home tongue-in-cheek, with your kids that you normally don't get to interact with. This is times where you spend that time with your family, learn to talk again, get to know each other again. Like I said, read the books, do a jigsaw puzzle, learn to knit, learn to sew, learn to build stuff. All the skills that you wanted to learn while you were at work going, crap, I don't have time to do that. Tidy the house, do a clean out. Check out the videos that I've got. Again, I'll put another playlist up here or down there on the bodyweight exercises that you can do at home. This is a time to reclaim your life and reclaim your health instead of being stuck in despair and stress. And probably the single most important one that I'm going to talk about, and it flies in the face of everything that the government talks about. Every ad break on TV is going on about coronavirus this, distancing, social distancing of 1.5 to 2 meters. And I get it if you're in a hospital setting or where people are obviously sick, I get that. If you're exposed, put a mask on, wash your hands, do the basic hygiene things. But even more important is, if you're not affected, actually connect with people more. This social distancing is creating disconnection and is creating a level of despair and isolation and futility in people. And if you want to look at again what happens with the immune response when people feel hopeless and desperate, their immune function diminishes rapidly and aggressively. So again, you're far more susceptible to be affected opportunistically by diseases. And this is like when the little old lady falls over, breaks her hip. It's not the hip fracture that kills her, it's the 3 to 10 days in bed because she gets pneumonia and dies. That's what happens when you're stressed out and your immune system is compromised. And isolation and lack of connection is a very big part of perpetuating that process. So here's my suggestion for you. If you're in lockdown over the next 2 weeks, pick up your phone and don't use it to bitch on the phone. Use it to pick up and get in contact with the people you love and care about and tell them that you love and care about them. And if you've had a falling out with someone, make peace. Shoot them a text, give them a call, send them a message. Let them know that, little schisms of life, little misunderstandings are insignificant compared to, I really care about you. I really, really value you. You are so special to me. And let the past be in the past. Let's build bridges and move past this. Tell the people you love that you love them. And if you want to stimulate an immune response in an elderly person, get on the phone to them. These people are so lonely, especially if they're stuck in a nursing home and they're treated like they're just in God's waiting room to fuck off to the next world. They don't have a lot of self-value and they're not being valued. They're being cared for. And this is where so many families in the West especially, shuffle off the elderly to not have to face the fact that, the person they used to love is deteriorating and sort of out of sight, out of mind. And I implore you and reach out to you, if you want these elderly people to not become statistics from this virus or any other virus, pick up the phone, give them a call, especially if they're immunocompromised. You may not physically want to be there. Give them a call, tell them how much you love them, remind them of the past, the great times you had. And if you didn't have great times, they may have been a shit of a parent or a shit of an auntie or whatever else, and you've got this fractured relationship. But mend that relationship starting today. Build those bridges, build that connection. Because if we can't overcome our little tiffs with the people, with our friends, with our family, with our loved ones, how the hell can we go for communities binding together, countries binding together and getting to world peace? And I know this is probably my most hippy-dippy, Kool-Aid, let the flowers grow. That's why I've got the red shirt on with the flowers on it. It's like, it's time to take a stand and go, do I want to live in fear or do I want to live in love? And that's a question for all of us. So let's mend those bridges, let the bygones be bygones, wipe the slate clean and get in touch with the people you love and care about and let them know how you care about them. And Also, hug your family members. You know, this bullshit 1.5 meters isolation, I get it if people are exposed, but your family and loved ones, if they're healthy, and even if they're not, the best thing that you can do is give them a heartfelt hug and tell them that you love them. And why is that? Because that connection, the release of serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, and other hormones will stimulate an immune response that is a lot stronger than that disease that we're trying to run away from in fear and treat it like it's the thing that's going to wipe out humanity. It's not. We are stronger, both as individuals and more importantly as a community, as a family unit, and as humanity. We're going to get through this. This storm will pass. There will be some casualties, but we can minimize that by building the love, building the expansion, building that warm energy. And when you reach out to someone that you love and tell them that you love them and give them that hug, they are going to be so much stronger for it, and so are you, because the giving and the receiving of that positive energy, positive emotion is so uplifting. It's going to raise a vibrational level where, you know what, all that petty bullshit is not going to matter anymore. So, message from me to you: I love you, I appreciate you, I thank you for listening to my rants and dealing with some of my cheeky humour, especially the images that have been flashing up here throughout this video. Enjoy your life, be your own best friend, and when you become your own best friend, be the best friend to the people around you. And you know what? My mum's 77, she's dealt with thyroid cancer, she's dealt with kidney cancer, she's out playing tennis twice a week, and I'm not going to hold back on giving that lady a hug. I'm also going to tell her to dose up on vitamin C and eat her veggie, her fruit and veggies, and get the smoothies in her because they're just putting so much nutrition in. My father's 81, he's had a new hip, a new knee, he's had to deal with some cancer issues over the years as well, and he's just come back from a week away playing golf. My mum plays tennis twice a week and goes to crafts and so active. They're absolute role models of staying active and not letting the bullshit get you down. And if my old man can come back from going interstate, he was in Queensland for the week playing golf, comes back and it's like, man, we've gone through wars, we've gone through depressions, we've gone through far worse things than this could ever be. So get on with your life, deal with the challenge when it comes. They're not worried about being immunocompromised even though dad's 81, mum's 77. Don't put the elderly in kid gloves. Those guys are way tougher and have had to deal with way more than we have had to. My dad grew up drinking milk straight from the cow. People freak out today, it hasn't been pasteurised, homogenised and been irradiated to within an inch of its life. It's like, you know what? They built immune systems. I was a kid growing up in the 70s, you're out in the garden, you're eating dirt, you probably ate a bit of cat shit along the way. It builds your immunity. Your immunity and your immune system is designed to be challenged. And I'm not saying be reckless about it, but be smart about it. It's like if you're going to play basketball or play cricket or baseball or boxing or martial arts, you don't just go out in the biggest fight of your life without ever training. You're going to spar, you're going to practice, you're going to put your skills to the test, and your immune system is exactly the same as that. It needs to be challenged to get stronger, to get more robust. So again, don't be reckless about it, but also don't be afraid. If you get exposed, 85% of people probably aren't even going to have any significant symptoms behind maybe a runny nose and whatever else. Yes, the 15% that are immunocompromised, let's be smart about it. But let's also not believe the media hype and lower our own energy and run around in fear and be our lower selves where we're fighting with each other for toilet roll, a packet of pasta or other bullshit like that. Instead, let's go, you know what, there's more than enough, we're going to come through this. If I end up going on a 3 to 5 day fast involuntarily because there's a food shortage for a few days, I'm going to survive it. The military knows that 11 days of fasting and flogging soldiers, 11 days of doing that before they start to lose muscle mass. They're not even starving yet. Starvation starts after about 11 days. So you and I and all those people who are dealing with weight issues, you know what? It's probably the best thing that you can do for your body if it comes to that. So eat smart, eat healthy, tell the people you love that you love them, be your own best friend, meditate, get outside, get in the fresh air, get in the sun, drink plenty of water, hug the people that you love that aren't in the high-risk categories, tell the people that are in the high-risk categories, get on the phone, tell them you love them, spend them some time with them, find out how they are, laugh, live, learn, love and grow. And I'll talk to you again very soon.